Alright, BobalosRex here, and today we're taking a look at Demon Hunter and its two hero talents. And I may have some speculation about the hero talent stuff for the future at the end of this video. But let's go over Demon Hunter, and I main Demon Hunter for a while. So I do have some background with Demon Hunter. We're actually going to start with Fel-scarred Vengeance. Okay, and we're going to talk about them like I did with Evoker. I'm going to tell off all the talents. Then I'm going to focus on how it looks. And I'm going to give you all the basics of how it plays and a little bit of how it feels. Because I'm not the high-end, I'm not a min-maxer, I'm not crunching the numbers. And if it's not my main for raid, I'm just going to be playing whatever feels cool for the character. Alright, so let's start with Fel-scarred. The Fel-scarred embrace their inner demon and amplify the explosive power of the Fel-fire they wield. Alright, so inner demon, fire. That's the vibe I'm getting. Let's see if we get it. Metamorphosis now greatly empowers Soul Cleave and Spirit Bomb. While Demon Form is active, the first cast of each empowered ability induces a damage surge, causing you to explode with Fel energy, dealing fire damage to nearby enemies. Oh, that's cool. So, you explode when you do the first cast of your empowered abilities. Because when you turn into a demon, abilities get empowered, and actually later we're going to talk about other ones that get empowered. Alright, but let's get down here. So we have our first choice node over here. Wave of Debilitation. Chaos Nova slows enemies by 60% and reduces attack and cast speed by 15% for 5 seconds after its stun fades. It's good that it's after the stun phase, not during the stun, but I don't know how I feel about that one, but this one I like. Pursuit of Angriness. Movement speed increases by 1% per 10 Fury. I mainly just like it because it's nice. Like, this one's probably better, but it's just like, I move faster when I'm mad. Alright. This is one that should give you, like, I don't know, that should have a look or an aesthetic look to it. Alright. Then we got Focus Hatred. Demon Surge deals 30% increased damage when it strikes a single target. Alright, so it works for a single target. It does more damage. Good. Alright, this is one I really like. So this is another choice node. This is a defensive one. So we got Set Fire to the Pain. 5% of all non-fire damage taken is instead taken as fire damage. Over 6 seconds. Vengeance takes less magic damage. Okay? And fire damage taken is reduced by 10%. So basically, you get... So all non-fire damage is turned to fire damage. So that's a 5% damage convert. And then it's like 10% of that. So it's like 0.5%. And it's delayed. Alright, and it's delayed. It's pretty nice. It's pretty nice. And then the magic reduction for Vengeance could be good. And then the other choice is Improved Soul Rending. Leech granted by Soul Rending increased by 2% and an additional 2% while Metamorphosis is active. I don't really like the sound of that one. That may end up being good. I don't know. I like this one. One for the vibes, really. Alright. And I wish this would give you a fire effect. Like, maybe you sizzle or something. Some kind of, like, flame on your body or something. Alright. Burning... Okay, now we're back over here. Burning Blades. Your blades burn with Fel energy, causing your Soul Cleave, Throw Glaive, and auto attacks to deal an additional 10% damage as fire over 6 seconds. See, I just like the idea of being on fire with this spec. Or hero talent. Hero spec. Here's one. Violent Transformation. When you activate Metamorphosis, the cooldowns of your Sigil of Flame and Fel Devastation are immediately reset. So for Havoc, it'd be different when we're reading through it later. But, so I guess every time before you metamorphosize for Vengeance, you want to hit the Sigil and the Devastate, so you get that extra. Alright, then we got Enduring Torment. The effects of your demon form persist outside of it in a weakened state, increasing maximum health by 5% and armor by 20%. Alright. That's cool. See, this is why I wish you would have, like, an infinite demon form or something. Like, something about Fel-scarred needs to show. See, look at this. The effects of your demon form persist. Like, this should have an effect on my character. Untethered Fury. Maximum Fury increased by 50. Alright. But this class being played... These being played feel better, but these aesthetically are disappointing to me. We'll talk about that later, though. Alright. Choice nodes. Student of Suffering. Sigil of Flame applies Student of Suffering to you, increasing your mastery by 12% and granting 5 Fury every 2 seconds for 8 seconds. Or Flamebound. Immolation Aura has 2-yard increased radius and 30% increased critical damage bonus. This one I think is the one you'll use, Student of Suffering, but this one's kind of cool. I wish it, like, made my Flame Aura bigger or something. I mean, it technically does, but it doesn't make... Like, it doesn't show it. You know what I'm saying? Agility increased by 5% while not in demon form. Boom. Which kind of sucks. It should just be agility increased by 5%. But I guess it's to balance it. Demonic Intensity. Because then when you want the extra agility, you don't have it. When you're in demon form. It's good though. When I talk about, we'll talk about it in a second. Let's finish this up. Activating Metamorphosis greatly empowers Fel Devastation, Immolation Aura, and Sigil of Flame. Demon Surge damage increased by 10% each time it's previously triggered while your demon form is active. Okay? So this is a really cool. Now let's talk about how it plays, because how this plays is pretty cool. So here I am doing my stuff. You know, you can't really tell I'm different, you know. Nothing looks different. I do my Fel stuff. I do my hunt. Everything's the same, right? Oh, let's take a look at the tier real quick. I should have done this at the start. So, Vengeance tier, pretty simple. Soul Cleave deals 15% increased damage and has a 35% chance to shatter one lesser soul fragment from a target hit. So, more soul fragments, which will play into the other hero talent. We'll talk about that in a second. Consuming a soul fragment increases the damage and healing of your next Fel Devastation by up to 2% for 30%. So that's this Fel Devastation stuff. So this Fel Devastation stack comes from this. But look here. So when I turn meta, alright, I don't look any different, which is a real shame. I feel like if you pick this, your meta should look different. But my spells change down there. In Vengeance even. So, let's go meta. Let's show this off. So, in this spec, all of your spells change. So, Soul Cleave becomes that. Spirit Bomb becomes that. Sigil of Flame becomes Sigil of Doom. And then, hold on. Y'all saw what that was for a second. But yeah, so you got Spirit Burst, Soul Sunder. So all your spells become empowered, and you basically use them in order, and they buff themselves. Alright? I wish I had a way to reset my meta. But the way this spec plays is you just want to be in meta. You want to get to meta again. When you're in meta, you're popping off. It does kind of adjust for not being in meta, but you just want to be in meta. You want to use meta. You want to talent for more meta. You know, you'd go in the base tree and try to be like, okay, how can I get more metamorphosis to play with this spec, this hero talent? And I think it's pretty cool. Alright, I do wish they would upgrade the hero spec form. We'll save all the aesthetic talk at the end. But as far as how it plays, it looks cool to me in how it plays. When you see all your demon spells come up, as you saw if you were looking at the bottom here, that was pretty cool. Especially for Vengeance. You're used to it for Havoc, you know, with Blade Dance and whatnot changing. But to see it with Vengeance, yeah, see down here how these all turn? It's pretty cool. Alright. Now, let's go back to... Let's go to the other hero talent. Actually, here, I'm about to get meta back. Let's pop it again. So, look down here. Boom. Fell Desolation. Sigil of Doom. Consuming Fire. Immolation Aura turns into that. Then I got Spirit Burst in that. And they would all do a Demon Surge. And all the Demon Surges were doing more damage. And ideally, that's the cap, basically. You can only get so many. Because it's the first use after you meta. But I just think it's kind of cool. And I really like Metamorphosis. So I think I'm basically going to be Fel-scarred on both. But let's talk about a Aldrachi Reaver now for Vengeance. The Aldrachi warriors were the ultimate glaive masters and wielded their blades with deadly grace, consuming souls and imbuing their weapons with great power. Now, I really wish we could see the Aldrachi. We really only learn a little bit of the Aldrachi, so the lore they've kind of put is just like, they're really good with glaives. And it's like, okay, now let's see where we go with this. Alright. Art of the Glaive. Consuming 40 soul fragments converts your next throw glaive into Reaver's Glaive. Throw a glaive enhanced with the essence of consumed souls at your target, dealing physical damage, 200k physical damage, and ricocheting to 2 additional targets. Begins a well-practiced pattern of glaive work, enhancing your next Fracture and Soul Cleave. The enhanced ability you cast first deals 10% increased damage, and the second deals 20% increased damage. So, you see what they're kind of playing on here? They're basically like, I throw this glaive after consuming souls, and then I use one ability for 10% effectiveness, and then the other ability for 20%, and they have added effects. But let's get to it. Let's read the added effects now. When in Fury of the Aldrachi. When enhanced by Reaver's Glaive, Soul Cleave casts 3 additional glaive slashes to nearby enemies. If cast after Fracture, so if this is your second, it casts 6 slashes instead. Okay? Now, we got our choice node. Evasive action. Vengeful Retreat can be cast a second time within 3 seconds. So you're basically jump back, or jump back, turn, jump back. A lot of jump backs. Okay? Or Unhindered Assault. Vengeful Retreat resets the cooldown of Fellblade, which is what you're going to be picking 100% of the time. Honestly, I feel like there's going to be a macro where you hit Vengeful Retreat and then Fellblade immediately after. 100%. Like 1000% that's going to be the case. So this is for right here with that alone. This is the momentum builds. Okay? Which may mean it's the one that you play for power. But honestly, okay, we'll talk about it later. Let's get to Reaver's Mark. When enhanced by Reaver's Glaive, Fracture applies Reaver's Mark, which causes the target to take 15% increased damage for 20 seconds. If cast after Soul Cleave, Reaver's Mark is increased to 30%. So, This applies to Fracture. This gives your Fracture an extra effect if it's used second, just in case you... So, for Fracture's case, you're applying the mark. So, this would be the buff damage. So, this Soul Cleave second is for AoE. Fracture second is for single target, is what it looks like. Okay? 100%. So we'll talk about that when I'm showing off how it plays. Then we got Aldrachi Techniques, or Tactics, not Techniques. The second enhanced ability in a pattern shatters an additional soul fragment, so that's to help get more soul fragments for more glaives. Alright, and we'll talk about how that plays in a bit. Then we got another choice node. Army onto oneself. Fellblade surrounds you with a blade ward, reducing damage taken by 10% for 5 seconds. Okay? Or Incorruptible Spirit. Consuming a spirit fragment also heals you for an additional 15% over time. Alright. Honestly, do you want... If you're going to be doing Fellblades, you're going to be taking 10% extra damage. So, honestly, for Vengeance, you're probably going to just run this with the Vengeful Retreat macro. So you're just getting that 10% reduced damage. Soul Fragments could be good for a hot. I feel like Havoc may play this, but this could also be good because you're just getting reduced damage every time you Fellblade. Like, just tanky Havoc. Alright, next one. Wounded Quarry. While Reaver's Mark is on your target, melee attack... Yeah, I did read the second one, right? Yeah, Incorruptible. Okay. Wounded Quarry. While Reaver's Mark is on your target, melee attack strikes with an additional Glaive Slash for 8k damage and have a chance to shatter a soul. So again, single target, it's looking like you want to use Fracture second. So you'd Soul Cleave Fracture versus the other way around after your Glaive. Alright? Now, we're Incisive Blade. Soul Cleave deals 30% increased damage. Alright. Doesn't do anything to make you look cooler. Doesn't make your glaives bigger. Imagine if this spec made your glaives bigger. Just aesthetically. So, your glaives look bigger in this spec, and you were flaming hot demon mode, or like you're sizzling hot in this spec. Something to think about, Blizzard. Again, I'll save that for the end now. I know I keep mentioning it during the... I'll go in more detail. So then we got another choice node here. Keen Engagement. Reaver's Glaive generates 20 Fury. Or Preemptive Strike. Throw Glaive deals 28k damage to enemies near its initial target. So that's for AoE. This for the most part. So you just get extra Fury when you use your Glaive. Then we got Warblade's Hunger. Consuming a soul fragment causes your next fracture to deal additional damage. You'll be consuming soul fragments, so it's just going to give you more damage. Then we got Thrill of the Fight. After consuming both enhancements, gain Thrill of the Fight, increasing your attack speed by 15% for 20 seconds, and your damage and healing by 30% for 10 seconds. So, once you use both of the buffed abilities from your Reaver's Glaive, you get increased attack speed and damage. Again, making it for single target, you're pretty much wanting to use Reaver's Mark. Alright. So let's see how this plays. So, I'm still Vengeance here. Alright. We need to start getting soul fragments. The problem I have with this spec personally is it takes a lot of charge up. Okay? So for Vengeance, you gotta get 40 soul fragments. So you see this buff here, Art of the Glaive? I'm getting my soul fragments. I'm slowly getting my soul fragments. Using my abilities. Here, let's meta. Try to get some more. There we go. We got our fancy Glaive. Now, I use my fancy Glaive. You saw what it looked like. And now I have the two Art of the Glaive buffs. Rending Strike and Glaive Fury. So, if I was doing single target, I'd Soul Cleave first, and then I'd Fracture, and now they got the Reaver's Mark. And I'm going to be doing damage, more increased damage to them. Now, if I did that in reverse... Alright, here, let's get another trigger. It's not actually about throwing your glaive either, which is funny, because you get a charge of the special glaive, but unless your glaives break soul fragments off, it's about soul fragments. You want more and more soul fragments, so you get the fancy glaive. Alright, see? And then, again, okay, so let's do it in reverse. So, Fracture, that was the wrong one, Soul Cleave, and then it did the little glaive attacks you saw there. And then I got a lower Reaver's Mark. Alright. So, I'll do a summary of it, but that's how Aldrachi Reaver fits for Vengeance. Now let's just take a little look over at Havoc, read the tier, look at the differences, and then I'll talk about how they play. But again, the only aesthetic thing that changes is that glaive. Nothing else changes about... You don't even get a new spell for Demon Hunter for that one. So, let's look at Aldrachi Reaver for Havoc while we were just talking about it real quick. So, instead of 40 soul fragments, it's only 6 for Havoc, because you get less. And then Reaver's Mark is for Blade Dance. And wait a minute. Chaos Strike. Chaos Strike is for Reaver's Mark. Blade Dance is for the extra glaives slashes to the AoE. So, if you're AoEing, you Blade Dance. If you're single targeting, you Chaos Strike second. Alright. And then, yeah, that's basically... Yeah. And again, you would think this would be about throwing glaives. It's actually not. It's about soul fragment generation. So, if I want more glaives, I need more soul fragments. So, let's get soul fragments. As Havoc, again, you just gotta get 6. But for me, the worst part about Havoc, getting soul fragments. Alright, there we go. I got some soul fragments. I got my Reaver's Glaive. Boom. And then for AoE, or for single target, I do Blade Dance first. See how I used it, and then Chaos Strike, and then the Reaver's Mark. And then I do 30% more damage. Woo! And look, I need to go grab these. Get them. Alright, got 6 again. There's my Reaver's Glaive.
It's too far away.
Good for me. Here, I want to get a big glaive. I want y'all to see it. Because that's literally the only effect of this hero spec, is the glaive. That's it. For me, it's a little like, meh. But, come on, soul fragments. See, when you're starving for soul fragments, you can't even do the cool thing. Your normal glaive doesn't do anything. And if your throw glaive doesn't even... Like, again, see, I'm running it because I'm not really throwing glaives. Like, I'm not really into the throw glaive spec. But it doesn't even really play with it that much, because it's more about soul fragments. So I'm just sitting here, unable to do the fancy thing with my class, until I get some dang soul fragments. Alright. See, there you go. Fancy glaive. Alright. And then Fel-scarred, real quick, let's just go over it for Havoc. What changes? Oh, I want to show y'all the abilities that change for Havoc. So, same thing for Havoc. When you metamorphosize with the Fel-scarred, all your spells get different stuff. So, we got Sigil of Doom for fire. Consuming Flame for Immolate. You got Death Sweep, Annihilation Flame for Immolate. You got Death Sweep, Annihilation, you already know. And then Eye Beam turns into Abyssal Gaze. How cool is that? I know, it doesn't really change the animation, but it just sounds cool. I really wish they had unique animations for this one. And I really wish they did something for Glaive Master. So, let's just sum up both real quick. Fel-scarred for Vengeance and Havoc is all about metamorphosis. It feels cool when you get your new spells and you just get to blast. You would want to play talents that help keep you in meta, that give you meta and all that stuff. Feels good. I wish they did more with the aesthetics, of course. Maybe put you on fire. Maybe give you some demon traits. Maybe have your wings out. Something. Now, for Aldrachi Reaver, or Aldrachi Reaver, for Vengeance and Havoc, it's all about soul fragments. So, for Havoc, you only got to get 6. For Vengeance, you got to get 40. And it's not really about throwing your glaive constantly. You can run the throw glaive build, but it's about soul fragments, getting them, then using your one fancy ability, which is the special glaive, and then using your 2 main abilities to put a mark on the target. Basically, is how it's going to end up playing. Is you put this Reaver's mark, and then you do more damage. Alright? And you get a fancy glaive every now and again. So, overall, I think Fel-scarred has the coolest theme and feel for me, and it's going to be the one I'm picking. But Aldrachi Reaver is probably going to be the one that is super good. It kind of plays well with the momentum builds, but if you play the non-momentum builds, Fel-scarred is going to be for you. Alright? Demon Hunters will know what I'm talking about, but we'll have to see which one's best. But I vibe most with Fel-scarred. Hopefully we get some interesting aesthetic stuff applied to these, in my opinion. And one thing I will say is Demon Hunter is the only one where both specs get access to both hero talents. So if Demon Hunter ever got a 3rd spec, then all other specs, in theory, would need to have access to all 3. Or what would you do? Would you then have to split up the Demon Hunter ones? It's very interesting to think about, because if they open up the hero talents to all specs, then you'd have to give Demon Hunters a 3rd one, or they get nothing, and then do we get the 3rd Demon Hunter spec? Interesting. Interesting possibility. You know, I've theorized about a 3rd spec. But yeah, that's it. That's how that feels. I'll be playing Fel-scarred on most of mine. I may have one as Aldrachi Reaver, because the glaive does look a little cool. But that's that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Let me know what class you want me to look at, because up next is pretty much anything. Because these are like my 2 mains to play. I think I'm going to do Rogue next, but let me know what you think. I'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye.